play. And Mikel's just, there's something. And look, I think he's done a great job as well. And I think he should have won the league at least once or twice in the last 2 or 3 years. They should have got over the line. And no one's shouting around this table saying Arsenal this, Arsenal that. We're actually saying we're a bit
But you won't get over the line when you draw 14 league games.
Yeah, I think we're a bit concerned about our predictions. I'd say I'm concerned about my prediction already. I'm not changing. You don't change your predictions. But you don't change your predictions. You predict Arsenal with the title.
You can in September, surely.
I'm worried about my prediction now because I'm seeing the same patterns from last season.
I didn't expect to feel a little bit apprehensive like I do now, because, and that's just on his selection for this game. Yeah. With the games coming up as well, I think he's just got to, like you say, he's just got to let it go and trust the guys to get it done now, because I'm not sure what more there is to do in respect to the size of the squad he's got, the quality of the squad he's got. I don't know, like I say, you can look at the players he's got maybe before that City game, and I don't know what scenario where Eze and Martinelli in that is not playing. So that's a massive worry for me. And if he's going to change in that respect and not maybe feel like he's trying to defend against the Manchester City side that have played so many games, the three of them, like the same team 3 consecutive times. Yeah. You've got to go for that team. And then if we are winning, and I think them scoring early like they did, City kind of set it up for them even to drop into that. But if we are winning and then you want to hold on to it, then you bring on those players.
Right, Arsenal, you mentioned just earlier that you felt they were a little bit defensive against PSG.
Well,
Can you elaborate?
I'm not having the people saying that Arsenal are defensive or our manager's defensive. I thought that was pretty pragmatic the other day to start. Right, simple. But, like, it's a tough one simply because when you look at what he's done, even 22, 23, you know, the most, what did we get, 91 goals the same season, James. We only conceded 29, so it's not conservative, I think. We've got a midfield player playing up front in Marino, doing well for us last season, scoring the Champions League, you know, ended up getting second. So I don't think that we are defensive in that way. But I think in that particular game, I thought he was too pragmatic in his selection. Yeah. I believe, and what happened in the end, what we saw with, and I don't know if it's because we've got the kind of squad now, the squad rotation, where he's starting to think too much, I don't know, but what I thought was, and what we saw was, Eze and Martinelli, especially Martinelli in this kind of form, because we'd like to see him be, you know, more consistent continually, because if he was, it'd be electric and very, very difficult to stop. I thought that he would have given more than Trossard, and I thought that Eze is probably going to give us more, like he said, what we saw in the end, than maybe Marino in that particular game. So in that particular game, with the squad we've got, yeah, you have to say it was pretty pragmatic from him.
Right, he's obviously yesterday been interviewed before the game, and it's obviously he's a little bit sore on it. I think everybody was of the same opinion though on Saturday. If you could hear the Arsenal fans behind us in the first half, or even before the game.
I was getting there.
So if you look at what he said yesterday, but if the intention of those comments, which are the good ones, positive to be better for us, not to be so good for us, it depends where the comment is coming from. That's when I can analyse it. So how can you dominate against such a team if you have, what was the word? Handbrake, which I think I said that in the second half of the game, or first half even. Dominance and handbrake, they are two very different words. So he thinks he's dominated that game. I think he's got the handbrake on. Maybe you think he's got the handbrake on. Maybe you do. I think you do. I don't think 70,000 or 60,000 Arsenal fans can be wrong in how they feel. I don't think any of us that were in that studio or in that stadium or watching at home can be wrong either. The big thing for me is the players. He names that team on Friday afternoon, or let's say Thursday afternoon in training, and he leaves out Eze, and he leaves out Martinelli, and he puts Trossard in and Marino. I guarantee you that dressing room straight away, I look at him thinking, You've done it the same again. You did this at Anfield, a little bit at Old Trafford, but certainly at Anfield, he could have been more attacking and he wasn't. And certainly against City from the start, he couldn't be attacking. He could have been more attacking.
No, I thought he would have.
He's going to regret this if he doesn't start to take the handbrake off. I'm going to repeat the comment handbrake because he's got players there that need to play in these games. Because you can't look back at the end of a season and think, I've lost at Anfield, I've dropped points at home against City, I've dropped 5 points now in those 2 matches, and I could have picked a more attacking team. I think there is a problem there that's starting to sort of become a pattern for him.
I feel like when you look at what we've done at Liverpool, I thought that Ødegaard and Eze's substitutions were maybe a bit too late. I think he tried the same thing with Bilbao, and that worked. And I think he was with a City side that, three games on the spin, they've used the same team. I thought that he was going to come out and really have a blast at them, because it looked to me like City. Whatever happens, if once they score their goal, they were going to go to the 5-4-1. They look like they've practiced that. And then I'm thinking, because they're going to be tired, I thought we should have went at them. And then, in the end, he's going to bring on the two substitutes like he done again with Eze and Martinelli. I think that, again, he didn't go for it. He should have went for it. And then, you know, you bring on those players. You bring on Marino. You bring on Ben White. You bring on those kind of people to see the game out. But, like, I think he's just got it wrong at the moment with what he's done there. I just feel. Is he overthinking? I don't know. I don't know.
Listen, I think he's done a brilliant job. Listen, he spent a lot of money. I think, for me, the best squad of players in the Premier League now. And I don't think this is something that we'd accuse him of every week. But it does feel like there's important moments, and he always chooses caution over courage. I'm convinced of it.
That's what Pep used to do. Remember Pep's early doors? He used to tinker around with it.
That might be overthinking. I think this is different. I think he always goes for that side of it. In terms of...
What are you saying no, Gal? What?
No, so I'll tell you why I'm saying no, because Pep's teams were, I think, the best defensively. But when I think back to that first Pep team that won the league, he had Sané, Aguero, Sterling, and he had David Silva and De Bruyne in midfield. And then he had, obviously, Fernandinho behind. So if you've got David Silva and De Bruyne here, and you've got Sané and Sterling, and you've got Aguero, you've got 5 players there that are really set up to attack. Now, they were brilliant defensively on transition as well. So for me, I don't remember a Ferguson team, a Guardiola team. I remember a Mourinho team at times maybe being but even Mourinho's team, if you think about it, he had Lampard and Essien running forward, and then he had Robben, Duff, Drogba. I think he picks the most defensive teams he possibly can at times, Mikel Arteta, in big games. Not overly defensive, but I think he could be more attacking. He could dial it up.
He picks the power, doesn't he, over creation. You know, you pick Mourinho. Now, the thing that's frustrated me a little bit is the game at Anfield and the game against Man City. Some of the things that have been said by maybe yourself or Arsenal fans is right. You go to Anfield and Liverpool can batter teams there. You've been in the game and you've lost to a fluke or a free kick. But my point being is, and you can see the game against Man City, and Arteta, you can argue, was right in that we dominated them. The worst possession they've had, we forced them to go to back 5.
But does fortune favour the brave?
No, I agree, Gary. All them things are right. You can say that. There's no doubt about that. But it can't get away from the fact that that wasn't Liverpool at Anfield. That was Liverpool on the back of conceding 2 goals in the first 3 games against inferior opposition. And we all know, we've all played in big away games where, OK, it's Anfield, you go there and you think, if you get through that first half at 0-0, then it's like, then you've got to go again. And they didn't. They allowed Liverpool to come back again. I think the difference with City was you had to start with in that game. The City have played Thursday night.
Exactly.
Haven't had a great start to the season. It was almost like, we'll see how the game goes, and we've got our players on the bench to come on. It's a bit like, no, you've got to go for them for the throat. You've got to go right from the start.
Why wouldn't he just go for it though? Like, why was Eze not playing? I don't get why Eze is not playing.
You're on about the statements you've got to make as a team, and obviously Liverpool having won the day before. Liverpool had a European game as well. Remember, Liverpool then are 2-0 up at home to Everton after 30 minutes. So Liverpool obviously thinking, we start quick. If fatigue kicks in, it'll obviously be later on in the game, but don't start slow. So that was the issue with... So Arsenal and Sarri would be see Liverpool, it's like heavyweight boxers throwing a big punch. We've won 2-1. Now what are you going to do? And this Arsenal group of players, and not just on the manager and the players, you're going City at home. City a few weeks ago gave up a kind of a late winner at Brighton. There's still a bit of softness to them, a little bit. They're not back to their very best. They showed glimpses, obviously, against United and probably Napoli, who were down to 10 men. So this was Arsenal's chance to say, Liverpool would be sitting home on the Sunday, all the players and the manager going, let's see how these react to it. And they're getting a draw and they're almost relieved and going, you'd be sitting at home going, you know, they've not punched us back. They've not made a statement to say, like, we were there, we'd done it for years. A team would win before you or the day after, before you go, fucking hell, let's put the pressure on us. But Arsenal's reaction to Liverpool winning on Saturday, 2-1, even if it was maybe struggle at the end, but they've won the game against Everton on paper. You go, it's a derby game, listen, could be tricky. And then Arsenal, the way, whatever with the selections, which wasn't great, the way they started the game. The keeper, I think they took 40 odd minutes before the keeper made a save. I know there was corners coming in on top of him, but again, Liverpool would be looking at Arsenal going, is that it? Is that what you're coming back with?
Liverpool again, win that game, really.
So it was more the mindset that I'd be looking at going, really, Arsenal, are you really... You gamblers,
that's on the manager, isn't it? That's on the manager and his mindset, I think so. It's something that he's probably going to have to think deeply about and what he's done there, simply because I genuinely thought that I didn't think that them two weren't going to start, because I thought we should have gone for them because it's
And his challenge, right?
We have to win all the home games.
But his challenge isn't Liverpool, isn't Man City. His challenge is Liverpool. So you're looking at Liverpool. There's not to be fighting sorry Man City going City. It's not like City 2 or 3 years ago coming to town where you go, listen, any gaps here, they'll rip us apart. You're going, City are there. City have already lost a couple of league matches. They were there for like at least test the goalkeeper, at least test their back four. After half an hour, you're on about going to Liverpool or United when they were a really good team. You're going, fucking hell, we haven't got a breather here. I bet you City were going, it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
What about Haaland, though? Like the goal to start that move and then run through. He was like an NFL player.
That's counter-attack.
Yeah.
That's counter-attack. They've done it against, obviously they've done it at Wolves earlier this season. His second goal or third goal, his second goal against United. That's from the halfway line. It's all counter-attack stuff.
Sorry, you've got his comments there. I saw something on my phone this morning. I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you saw it, right? He was going through the team of how attacking they are. So they've obviously been asked in the press conference. And he started with the goalkeeper. He said, we've got the most attacking goalkeeper in the league. then he mentioned sort of about his fullbacks, and I thought, that's not right, because his fullbacks are centre-backs. I played in a back four under Gerrard. It was 4 centre-backs. That's not far away where Arsenal have got. He then mentioned having Zubimendi, okay, a creative player in the number 6. I think he then mentioned I think he was talking about Madueke, saying he played centre-forward last season. He was talking about a wide player playing centre-forward. He was trying to almost argue against it, but it wasn't really making that much sense. No,
what is he on about?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't really making that much sense. And I thought, I can understand him defending himself, and he was talking about not listening to the pundits. And listen, 100%. You know, you got to be focused. The Arsenal manager, don't let messages get in. But I thought, I hope he's not doubling down on what he said there to maybe his coaching staff and the players, because what he was actually saying, I'm not quite sure. Sort of stacked up and sort of saying we are a really offensive team because the team's there in front here.
But I think when the weight of opinion from whether it be the media, pundits, your home fans, everybody is saying the same thing, they're onto something. And I think there's no one shouting around this table here today because actually I think you said Arsenal would win the league. I said Arsenal would win the league. I think you said Arsenal would win the league. You may have said Chelsea.
I said Chelsea.
And you said Liverpool. But 3 of us around this table have said Arsenal will win the league. We're not actually, to be fair, we're not anti-Arsenal here. We're actually wanting them to step up. We're actually saying we think these can step up, this team.
I think the squad should be.
And I'm still waiting for that moment where I think, right, they've stepped up, they've got there. And I do think they've got the reins on. I do feel, and do you know something? It reminds me of a situation at Salford a few years ago. I'm not naming the particular manager, but it always feels like to me the team that I think should be playing comes on when they score. So when they score and we go 1-0 down, the team that you think you should start with comes onto the pitch, and that's what happened on Saturday. So they go 1-0 down, they poor for the first half. At half-time, the acceptance of him being wrong is that he changed at half-time them 2 people. If he thought he was right, he'd have stayed with his team.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I think Madueke may have been injured, but you know what I mean? The essence of what he was trying to do, if he really believed in it, he wouldn't have changed it. He knew he had to change it. So if you change it when you're 1-0 down, I think the Klopps and the sort of like the Fergusons, the Peps, they pick those teams at 0-0 at the start of the game. They don't wait till you go 1-0 down. They pick that team straight away.
Gary Neville has raised concerns that Arsenal's players may soon begin to question Mikel Arteta's tactical approach, particularly in high-profile matches where he appears to prioritise defensive solidity over attacking freedom. Despite the club's acquisition of several attacking talents, which has strengthened the squad with more individuals capable of deciding matches, Neville believes the current system risks stifling creativity. Arsenal remain determined to compete for the championship, and their ability to score goals will be central to that ambition. Nevertheless, when facing top opponents, the strategy has often leaned towards caution, with a greater emphasis placed on avoiding mistakes rather than taking bold attacking risks. Speaking after observing Arsenal's performance against Manchester City, Neville voiced his opinion on the matter. As quoted by Metro Sport, he remarked, "The big thing for me is the players." He names that team on Friday afternoon or, let's say, Thursday afternoon in training, and he leaves out Ease and he leaves out Martinelli and he puts in Trossard and Marino. I guarantee you that dressing room, straight away, are looking at him and thinking, you've done it the same again, you've done it at Anfield and a little bit at Old Trafford, but certainly at Anfield. His comments highlight a belief that repeated cautious decisions could influence the players' confidence in their manager's vision, especially if they feel that creative players are being underutilized. While such criticism carries weight, there is also recognition that Arteta has delivered significant progress during his tenure. The manager has instilled discipline, stability, and a sense of identity that has pushed Arsenal closer to their long-term objectives. Trust in his leadership remains strong, with supporters and players alike aware that difficult and sometimes controversial decisions are part of elite management. Arteta has already demonstrated that he can guide the team through challenges, making bold calls that have, more often than not, paid dividends. The balance between defensive resilience and attacking flair is a delicate one, yet his track record suggests that he is well placed to manage this dynamic. Ultimately, while debates around tactics will continue, there is confidence that Arsenal's manager has both the authority and the capability to lead the club towards its ambitions.